Well, hello everybody, and welcome back to the Football Overseas YouTube channel, and welcome to another round of English Football League Championship predictions. We're coming towards the end of a 3-game week for the Championship, so it's been a busy week of games. Another full programme this weekend, and let's take a look at the league table after this midweek we've just had, and the games that have had an impact. It's the top four now that are sort of making a break for freedom from the rest of the bunch. They all won their matches. Some of them a little tricky, but they all came through them. All top four leagues in the order they are in. Leeds United, Sheffield United, Burnley and Sunderland all had good wins, and they are now 10 points clear of the chasing pack, if they are indeed chasing at the moment. Middlesbrough leapfrogged into 5th place. They had a win, so effectively the top 5 as they stand all won their games this midweek. But as I say, it's the top 4 that are making that break. A little bit of a breakaway now. 10 points is a lot. That's 3 matches and plus a bit of loose change. 3 wins between them now, and that takes some chalking back at this stage of the season. So that's the top. Then there's all the usual congestion in the middle as we speak about. We'll have a look at some of that as we go through. At the bottom, it's looking a bit grim for Plymouth, not least after their 5-0 home defeat against Burnley this week, just gone this midweek. So they really were put to the sword by Burnley. As I say, Burnley not known for their goal scoring, certainly known for their keeping a nil, and yet another clean sheet means only 9 goals in 28 matches. It's just staggering, really, and fantastic for them. And to add to it, this midweek, they put goals on the board. So, admittedly, Plymouth at bottom of the league, low in confidence, struggling now badly. It looks like it's a long haul to try and get back in contention to get above the line. But I know no footballer gives up, no team gives up, and they'll give it their all for as long as they're still in with a chance. But they really are now looking a little bit cut adrift, 5 points from anyone above them still. So there we are. That's what's the impact of the midweek. Not a great deal of difference in the real top and bottom areas. One team that did spring out of the bottom 3 was Portsmouth. An excellent home win, yet another home win against fellow strugglers Stoke City. So that was another big night under the lights at Fratton Park this week. Another full house, of course, just about, I think, aside from the perhaps not a full house in away supporters, a Stoke to Plymouth or Portsmouth on a Tuesday night, or Wednesday night even, as it was, not the most encouraging of trips to make. Anyway, that's what happened, and Portsmouth now 6 home wins out of the last 7. And the 7th game was a draw, so they've taken 19 points out of the last 21 at home. And they needed to do that because they've still only 3 points clear of the relegation zone. So it just shows you how, if you really galvanise a little bit and get some results on the board, you can make a mark and start to pull away from danger. So it's not all done for those sides at the bottom, including Plymouth. Let's hope they give it a go. So there we go. That's the sort of quick summary of where we are in the league table. Let's have a look at this weekend's full fixture list. We start on Friday night with one of the top 4, the big 4, whatever you want to call them. And it's Sheffield United at home to Hull City. Now, Hull City have been get some plucky results, haven't they? A couple of wins and a draw. But they did fall away at home to Queen's Park Rangers. No shame there, by the way, because Queen's Park Rangers are now effectively the form team of the division, winning 4 on the trot. Nobody can touch that record at the moment. So they're on 4 wins. They put Hull away on Hull's own ground. So I think Sheffield United will have add to their win column on Friday night. It's Sheffield United against Hull. Sheffield United putting Swansea away after going a goal down. So came back well down at the down in South Wales, and but Swansea did have a player sent off, so that didn't help their cause. It's bad enough with 11 against these really top sides, never mind 10 players. So Sheffield United 2, Hull City 0, I think will kick us off on Friday night. And then we go to the 12:30 games, as usual, a clutch of 12:30 games on Saturday. And we start off with Luton Town against Millwall. Millwall will be extremely disappointed with their midweek affair. 2-0 up, looking good for a rare 3 points, as it has been recently. But they couldn't hang on. And Cardiff, I think, equalised in the 97th minute, or the 7th minute of stoppage time. So, having been 2-0 down, as I say. So Cardiff will be, for that always feels like a win when you get off the pitch, doesn't it? To score with probably the last kick of the match. And when you were sort of struggling in the match as well at times, that does feel that's a nice journey home for them, even though it was only the 1 point. Luton, they threatened to win an away game or even get an away point, but it all just fell away again up at Oxford. As I say, Oxford can't do a thing wrong since Gary Rowett took over. So goodness knows what he touched on his way into that role. But all of these touching at the moment, Oxford is certainly turning to gold, and they put Luton away 3-2, and that's Luton's, I believe, it's the 11th consecutive away defeat. So they've really got to get a grip of themselves, because they are staring at double relegation, 5 losses in 6. And they, I think they might well break this losing or this non-winning streak. Millwall, if you could cherry pick a side to play and think, well, let's really, Millwall might be the team at the moment. They're just misfiring completely. So I'm going to take Luton to get a home win Saturday lunchtime. Luton Town 2, Millwall 1. Then we have 2 mid-table sides not really going anywhere this season at the moment, not doing enough to keep out of danger at the moment, but they're just they're just floating around, looking for the armbands to stabilise themselves. I didn't quite know why this has happened with Norwich in particular, who looked really sharp last season, got into the we're battling playoffs all the way through. And Swansea, as I say, went ahead against Sheffield United, but ultimately lost the match. So Norwich went down to Leeds. Admittedly, that's a tough ask, isn't it, for anybody at the moment. But I think Norwich might perk up a little bit in this one. 2 mid-table sides, saying nothing massive to play for at the moment. But if they can string wins together, then the top 6 or the 5th and 6th places are there for any of those clutch of sides to grab. So I'm going to take Norwich to take a 2-1 win as well. My scorelines aren't very inventive at them this weekend, but I can't split these sides with any great winning margin. So Norwich City 2, Swansea City 1. Takes us on to the final 12:30 game. Yes, now, Oxford, who are one of the other form teams at the moment since Gary Rowett took over. They were plunging into no man's land, weren't they? They're in a tailspin towards the bottom of the league, or towards the bottom area of the league. He's rescued things and turned things around and got them believing again that they are good enough to play at this level, having come through the playoffs last year from League One. Stoke City will be disappointed with their 3-1 loss down at Fratton Park, and that's always a bit of a dodgy result when you've had a run of draws. And it's one of my beefs, this. If you have a run of draws, then you don't want the next one to be a defeat, because it just keeps the whole thing in a bit of a flop. So anyway, I think this will be an entertaining match, but I can't split them. I'm going to take Stoke City and Oxford to share out 2 each draw. Stoke City 2, Oxford United 2. Then on to Bristol City against Blackburn Rovers. 2 other sides that just not quite making a real mark as they probably would like to. Bristol City in 9th place, 4 points off the playoffs. But again, it was a 2 each draw against away at Sheffield United, but I don't think it was a spark-filled performance, unfortunately. But they got a point, having been behind twice, so credit where credit's due on that front. And Blackburn surprisingly lost again at home, and they really have gone into a bit of a slump since that run of wins a little while back. And they're sort of still on the top 6 on the back of that run of wins, really. They've just about got the credit left in the bank, but they need to pull it out pretty good, sort of cash in again soon. And they went down 2-0 at home to Coventry, who are just starting to pick up a little bit now, with Frank Lampard getting his mark on the team, perhaps. But this one then, Bristol City and Blackburn, can't split them. I think it'll be a 1-1 draw. I mean, Bristol City have only lost once in the last 6, so current form is okay on paper, but it's just been, as a Bristol City fan, it's been a bit drab, for the want of a more polite word. So Bristol City 1, Blackburn 1, I think will be the outcome on Saturday. Then we go to Cardiff against Derby. Now, Derby are really on the crest of a slump. 5 defeats on the trot. They had a plucky performance against Sunderland midweek, but they've really now come almost to the point of no return, because they've come to the line of just above that relegation line, having sort of held on to their early season credit a little bit to keep them afloat. But 5 defeats on the trot makes its mark on anyone, doesn't it? And I don't think Cardiff are going to give them any cheer. Away to Cardiff then for Derby. Cardiff having that excellent recovery against Millwall, with that desperately late equaliser. So they'll be going to the game full of confidence, and will add, I think, to Derby's losing run. I don't think Paul Warne's under any real pressure. I don't know. I might be speaking out of turn there, but they're still getting the good crowd. The crowd was still behind them, I think, on Tuesday. I watched a bit of the game. I was on television against Sunderland. So, Derby work to do now to stay in this division, to put it bluntly. But I think Cardiff will see out this one. Cardiff City 2, Derby County 0. Then we go on to, as I said just now, alluded to just now, improving Coventry as Frank Lampard starts to make his mark on the team. And Watford now having a little bit of a slump. A slump is probably too strong a word, but a little bit of a setback they've had, especially now they've started to lose home games. They lost a game midweek at home to Preston North End. And looking at their current form, they've lost 4 out of the last 6. Just need to win a couple of games to go. And this is a toughie, because Coventry are showing signs that they're starting to perk up under Frank Lampard's, after losing the Mark Robbins and all of that saga. So they're clearing their heads a little bit. A couple of wins on the trot. And I think they'll add to it again here. It's a chance to, Watford are wobbling a little bit. Coventry, I think, can take advantage. So I'm going to take Coventry City 2, Watford 1. Then we have Preston North End against Middlesbrough. Now, Preston North End had that excellent win at Watford I was just referring to. And Middlesbrough had an excellent win at home to West Brom after their Middlesbrough had that poor defeat at the weekend down at Frampton Park. But I think they perked up to beat West Brom, which was no mean feat. Tony Mowbray's return to the dugout. A lot of love for him in the game. It's been great to see the testimonials for him, if you like, for his return. Some lovely words from a lot of people, a lot of good. He's got a lot. You find out who your friends are in these situations, and he's certainly been taken aback, I think, a little bit with the warmth that he's been shown, and I think we all wish him well for sure. So he went back to Middlesbrough, and they didn't extend their warmth too much, because Middlesbrough ran out 2-0 winners. But West Bromwich Albion then. Middlesbrough then, I think going to Preston, I think we'll take the points. It's going to be tough. This is one of my asterisk matches. I'm going to say Middlesbrough, but Preston could easily get something in this match, because they've only lost once in 6, and they're, as I say, they're in 16th place, and they've only lost 8 games, which is less than anybody outside the top 10. So, they're a difficult side to beat, but I think Middlesbrough will just have enough this weekend. Preston North End 1, Middlesbrough 2. Takes us on to the form team of the division. I say that because they've won 4 on the trot and nobody else can match that at the moment. So I'm going to go Queen's Park Rangers at home to Sheffield Wednesday. Sheffield Wednesday, as I say, were in front twice against Bristol City and let it slip, so they'll be disappointed with that. But overall, as we say most weeks at the moment, Sheffield Wednesday will be pretty happy with most of their work so far. It's just tailed off a little bit in recent weeks just the one win in the last 6, so they won't want that to slip along for too much longer. But I think QPR have just got that belief now that they can really make a mark at the end, towards the end of the season. Just think they were bottom in November, I believe. So what a turnaround. And I'm quite pleased because they were my shock team. I put them in the top 6 when we did the Football Overseas sort of predictions for the season. And I put them in the top 6. So I'm quite pleased they're making a recovery because it looked a bit of a Charlie. I was looking a bit of a Charlie when they were bottom of the league. So they are home to Sheffield Wednesday. I think they'll extend their winning run and take Queen's Park Rangers 3, Sheffield Wednesday 1. 3 games to go, and we have Sunderland against Plymouth Argyle. What a journey for these fans to make, and they will make it. Plymouth fans will set off to the northeast this weekend, but I think it will be a difficult afternoon. So they might as well go up there, make a weekend of it, and enjoy what the northeast has to offer. It's a wonderful place to go, especially if if you like your football. So Plymouth were 5-0 down at half time, and as often happens when you have a heavy scoreline in the first half, it all just peters out in the second half. Not that Plymouth are ever going to make a comeback, but there was no change to the scoreline. Everybody thinks, oh well, the game's done, and they just go, play it as almost a training session for 45 minutes, make a few changes and accept what's happened. So Burnley, though, as I say, still kept a 0 and surprised us a little bit, even though it was Plymouth, to go away and score 5. So, Sunderland and Plymouth then, long trip. Their fans hopefully just go and have a great weekend in the northeast. And Sunderland, I think, will overturn the match or overturn Plymouth by 3-0. Sunderland, as I say, having that win at Derby midweek. Then we have West Bromwich Albion against Portsmouth. Now, Portsmouth, as I say, have got this fantastic home run. It's probably the best home sequence at the moment, I would say, of most of the teams in the division. I haven't got the actual stats, but 6 wins out of 7. And good wins as well against decent opposition in the top half of the table. They've put away some good sides, and comfortably at time, and most of the time as well. However, their away form has been absolutely abysmal. If you think about it, they probably only picked up 3 or 4 points away from home, or maybe 5. I can remember a win and a couple of draws. So 5 points away from home. So they've really got to. They can't rely on this fantastic home form up until May, I don't think. So they've got to try and do something away. And this is a toughie against West Brom. I think Tony Mowbray will celebrate. I believe this is his first home match officially in the dugout. There'll be a lot of support for him from the home fans, obviously. And I think he'll be smiling on Saturday night. But I'm going to take West Bromwich Albion 2, Portsmouth 1. Takes no game on Sunday, but we have a Monday night fixture to feast upon, really. It's Burnley against Leeds, so third against first. And this is a really big game for Burnley because they will not want to if Leeds win it, there'll be 9 points. There'll be 6 points clear because Leeds are on 59 points at the moment. So obviously it's a big game between two of this top 4 that have really shown themselves to be much better than the rest at the moment. I think I'm going to be sitting on the fence, which is probably a bit of an easy thing to do, but I just can't split them. Burnley's defence is rock solid. I think Leeds will get a goal, but take Burnley's concession into double figures for the season. Quite incredible. And I think Burnley will. I think it's a game, in summary, where neither side will want to lose against the risk of trying to win. They won't want to put anything at risk. They'll happily take a point each and say, okay, we'll do our battles against the rest of the division, but we'll shake hands on a draw each. I'm sure if you offer them that at 8 p.m. on Monday night, they might both have a little think about that without playing the match, if you see what I mean. So there we go. A really good game to end the weekend. It takes us into Monday. I presume it's the Monday night football game on Sky. or it's certainly on Sky. So there we go. Burnley 1, Leeds United 1, by the way, was my score there. You probably worked all that out. So there we go. Another weekend to look forward to. A full programme, some excellent games. What will be, well, at the end of this, I will review next week. There are no midweek games next week in the Championship. So this will be a little bit of a welcome breather for most teams. And I will be back probably this time next week to review what happened this coming weekend and review what happened and preview the games for the following weekend. And we're into February then, and evening's getting a bit lighter, feeling a bit better about ourselves. Have a great weekend, everybody. Take care, stay healthy. Please like and subscribe to the channel, and I will see you all again very soon. Bye bye for now.